Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles. This is a new channel where I'm going to share my love of puzzles with all of you. My goal is to post at least one video every day, and I hope you enjoy watching my puzzle solving and listening to my thought processes. And now, on to the puzzle. Here's today's puzzle. It's Count to 20 by TVDK. And here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, which means you need to put the digits 1 through 9 in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. Interesting highlighting there. Yin-yang rules. Shade some cells so that there is a contiguous region of shaded and unshaded cells, where no 2 by 2 group of cells can be shaded or unshaded. So that means in a yin-yang puzzle, there's no 2 by 2 area, which can be all shaded. Let's use blue. Or unshaded, which is white, right? So an example of a valid yin-yang shape shading would be something like this, right? There's no area where there's a 2 by 2 space where there's it completely unshaded or completely shaded. And there are some interesting little tidbits along with that, and I'll share some of that, some of those secrets with you in the solve. Okay, modified number sum rule. Numbers outside the grid are the sum of the digits shaded that color in that row or column, though shading does not need to be contiguous. Shaded cells use the value given in the cell, while unshaded cells must have a different value than shown. Note that greater than 0 means that the sum is greater than 0. Okay, so I'm not completely certain of the rules, and if the rules are wrong, we're going to figure it out fairly quickly. But the number outside the grid, so there's a lot of 20s, it's the sum of the digits that are shaded, I'm assuming. Though the shading does not need to be contiguous. And if a cell is shaded, it must use the value given in the cell. So, for example, I'm assuming that that means if this is shaded, that would have to be a 4. The rules are a little squirrely, so I'm not completely sure if that actually is the rule, but I'm going to go with that. While unshaded cells must have a different value than shown. So that means if this is not shaded, it cannot be a 4, right? It would have to be a non-4. And those are the rules. I hope you can play along in the link in the description. And let's get started. Okay, so what I'm thinking is the thing is, okay, so for one thing, for yin-yang puzzles, shaded and unshaded, once you reach the edge of a shading, it cannot, how do you describe it? So okay, let's just say that this was blue. This was shaded, right? If this is unshaded and this is unshaded, that means the rest of this would have to be unshaded, right? Because the problem is, so say these were unshaded, right? Say we had a shaded version here. Well, okay, so first of all, this can't work because, yeah, this actually leads to another interesting rule. So, for example, if you have any set where you have a shaded cell and 2 unshaded cells next to it, this also has to be unshaded, and vice versa. And this can be anywhere in the puzzle. So for example, if you have two unshaded cells here and one shaded cell here, this cannot be unshaded. It would have to be shaded. And this is because of the yin yang rules, because it has to be one contiguous region for the shaded and the unshaded. So for example, if this were shaded, if these two are shaded and this is unshaded, how do these two connect, right? It would have to connect essentially out here, right? So it would have to be some weird shape that goes here. But the problem is, as you notice, if it's made in some sort of shape, and it doesn't matter what, as long as it's connected, now you have two shaded areas. And the problem is that this doesn't work, right? Because you have to have one contiguous area for the shaded and one contiguous area for the unshaded, right? So this this obviously, so that's one rule for the yin yang puzzle, or one secret. The other secret is if you have some contiguous cells that are shaded or unshaded, and then you stop. So say these are unshaded, and this is unshaded. So say it stops somewhere. That means every other single square on the border has to be the same color as these edges. And this also occurs because it's the same similar principle. Say you had some shaded cell here. Well, it has to connect to this shaded cell, and that breaks this into two distinctly separate regions. So that does not work. So those are the two main secrets of yin yang puzzles, is that if you have two of a certain color and you have one on the other side, this cannot be the color that's opposite it. It has to be the same color as the one surrounding it. And then the second one is if you have a section where it's one color and it's stopped being that color in both areas, the rest of these border cells have to be the same colors as the outer ones. So those are the two main secrets about yin yang puzzles that I know about. Okay, so now just solving the puzzle. Modified number sum rule. Okay, so that means, so one thing is we know then that this cannot be all shaded, right? Because if they're all shaded, well, first of all, it doesn't work because one's 5, you have two 5s here, and if they were all shaded, they would both have to be 5. And on top of that, we know there's a 6, right? So if this were 5, okay, so the thing is, there has to be a shading here. I guess, no, some of them have to be shaded, right? Because if none of them are shaded, so say this was all unshaded, then it would add up to 0 because the numbers outside the grid are the sum of the digits added shaded that color, right? So we know, okay, so the outer ones have to add up. So the shaded cells, first of all, okay. So say this was unshaded, shaded, unshaded, right? That means all of these are unshaded. But we know that this is greater than 0, right? So this has to have a shading in it somewhere, right? And it's probably actually all of them, would be my guess, right? Because we know that, okay, that's not necessarily given. We know that basically has to be shading here and then some shading here, right? I guess it could. Okay, so there has to be something like that, right? So it could be adding up to here, right? Or it could be adding up to here. Or it could be both, right? So, okay, let's see if any of these add up to 20. So this is 12, 15. That's 21. So this does not add up to 20. So this cannot be just by itself. So that means we guarantee there has to be at least one here, right? This could be 15, and that's 5. That works. Okay, so can it be these 4? So that's 5, 12, 14. It could be, yeah, it could be all of these. Or it could be all of these, right? We don't know. So we know, okay, so for one thing, we know this is shaded. So this has to be a 5, which means this is, okay, well, we already knew this was unshaded, right? So, so this cannot be a 5. This is either 726 or it's 843. This is 726 or 843. Excuse me. Right? Because it has to add up to 15 either way. So it's either 843 or it's 726. So we know these are both unshaded. Interesting. So we know these are unshaded. So either it's this. Okay, so this could be 7 and 8, or it could be 843, or it could be 726, right? We don't know which. So we know this. Okay, so we know all of these are shaded. Okay, so then this has to be 3, 8, 2, 7, 1, 4, 9, 6. So this is sufficient to make that shaded, right? And it could be here. So that could be shaded, right? So 6. Now we know, okay, so if any of these are shaded, it cannot be the same. Okay, so if this is shaded, that would have to be a 1 too. So but that's not possible. So this cannot be shaded. Similarly row-wise, right? If there's a 9 in this row, it cannot be shaded. If there's a 4 in this row, it cannot be shaded. Aha. So we know this is unshaded. And this is unshaded, and this is unshaded. Which means the rest of this has to be unshaded, right? Which forces this to be shaded. So then we know this is 6, this is 2, this is 7, right? Okay. Right, so that's 4 is unshaded. 1's one in the same column, or nothing else. 7, nothing. 2, there's nothing. So this adds up to 20, right? 6 plus 2 plus 7 plus 5. So that's 6, 8, 15, 20. Okay, this is 3. Okay, 2 cannot be in any column or any 3 by 3 box. 8 cannot be in any column or 3 by 3 box. 3 cannot be any column and 3 by 3 box. Okay. So we got that, right? So this is 9. Okay. So one of these has to be green. We have 3, right? And the rest add up to 17. It cannot be 6, 2, 5, 1. Sorry, it has to have the 2. Okay, so the rest has to add up to 17. And then on top of that, we know. So say it's not 8, right? Okay, well, actually, no, we know it has to be 8, right? Because these 3 are unshaded, this has to be shaded then. So this is 8. So this is 11. So the rest has to add up to 9. And it can only be 1, 2, and 6, right? So that means this has to be shaded. This has to be shaded. 2. One of the 2's is shaded. This is unshaded, right? So the 2 has to be here, and we don't know which. And one of them has to be shaded. Okay, well, actually, it has to be this one, right? Because there's a 4x4, 2x2 square here, and 3 of them are unshaded. So this has to be shaded. So therefore, this is a 2. This is not 2. So this is 2. This is 6. This is 1, right? There's no 1 available here. There's no 2 here. There's no 6 here. There's no 6 here. Okay. So this one has to go out, and it's specifically unshaded, right? We don't know if that's shaded or not. Okay. This is 8. The rest have to add up to 12. So it has to be... It cannot be 2 of these, right? Because if it's 12, it'd have to be 3 and 9. There is no 3 available. It'd have to be 4 and 8, but the problem is we already have an 8. Or 5 and 7, and there's no 5 and 7. So it cannot be 2, so it has to be 3 of them. So it has to be 1, 4, and 7 that adds up to 12. So this is shaded. This is shaded. One of these is shaded. These are both unshaded. Okay, so that means this is shaded by the 2x2 rule. So this is a 7. This is a 7. This is a 4. And one of these is 1. So one of these is shaded, but we don't know which. Okay, 7s, no 7s here, no 7s here, no 4s here, no 4s here, no 7s here. So one of these ones is valid. We don't, okay. And so from the rule that you cannot cross, so this green cannot be also here, green, this has to be blue. So this is the one, and this is unshaded. Because of that, this has to be contiguous. This has to be shaded also. So this is 8, and we have a 3, right? So, right, because this is 8, 7, and 2. And this is the 1. So this is 8, 7, 2. One of these 3's is shaded, but none of the other ones are shaded, right? Because this adds up to 12, 10, 17, and we need a 3 value there. So these are unshaded. And this is unshaded, which means this has to connect that way. So this is 2. Maybe we can try solving for all of these. Anyways, one of these 3's is valid. And it's blue. So say this was blue. If this was blue, this could not be blue because of the cross diagonal thing. So this cannot be, then both would have to be blue, and then it would be 3, 3, which is not possible. Therefore, the blue has to be this one specifically, and this is not. So this is unshaded. Okay, now we have 2 and 7, so that's 9, and we have to have 11 add up to it. I think 11, and we have possibilities of 1, 3, 4, and 6, right? The 3 cannot, it has to be 1, 4, and 6. So both of these 6 and the 1 have to be shaded, and they have to be 1 and 6 respectively. The 3 cannot be, so that's not shaded. Therefore, this has to be shaded because of the contiguous set. And one of these 2 is shaded, and therefore this has to be the shaded one because we have 3 unshaded. Therefore, this is unshaded too. So this is 4. This is unshaded because it can't be 4. Therefore, this has to be shaded. So this is 9. Okay. This could connect here. We don't know. Okay. So this also adds up to 20, right? 2, 6, 1, 4, 7. Right, so that's 1, 3, 7, 14, 20. We have 13 here, so it must add up to 7. And the only thing that adds up to 7 is the 7 itself. Everything else is unshaded. So that forces this to be shaded, right? So this is 7. So this is unshaded, so this is 6. This also has to be shaded. Sorry, this is shaded. They're both shaded, so this is 5. Because this has to connect somehow. This one we don't know. Okay, so this is 15. So we need a 2 and a 3 because those are the only ones possible. Therefore, this is the only 2, so this is shaded. This is unshaded. This is unshaded, right? So it could be this one or it could be that one. We don't know. So this is 2. Okay. So one of these two is shaded. We don't know which. Right, it could be this one. It could also not be that one. We don't know anything else about this. Okay, so this has to add up to 11 of shaded, right? So it could be 8, 2, 1, potentially 8, 3. What are the possibilities here? 8, 2, 1, 8, 3, 4, 6, 1, 6, 2, 3. I think those are the only possibilities for this column, right? Okay, so this cannot be. This specifically cannot be because there's already 6 here, and then this would have to be 6 if it's shaded. So this is unshaded, which means this is unshaded. Aha. And this can only add up to 18 if it is 8 and 3. So this is unshaded. This is unshaded. So this has to be the shaded one because it has to connect. So this is 3. This has to be the shaded one because it has to connect. So this is 3. So then that's 3. This cannot be shaded, so this is unshaded. Because of this has to be shaded, right? So now we know that this is shaded, so all of these have to be shaded too. Therefore one of these can, okay, so this is unshaded. So this has to be shaded. Okay, so this is the 8. And this is unshaded. And then all these numbers are fine. One of these is shaded, so at least this is shaded. So these two are shaded. We don't know about that one. Okay, so this is all shaded. Okay, so now we do just Sudoku. So now we have what? 4 and 9. So this is 4, this is 9. We have 1, 7, 8, 9. So this is 9. And we have 1, 7, 8. So this is 1, 7. 8. This is 178, 178, 178. Okay. We have, what else do we have here? We have 1 is one of these. So 1, 3, 5, 6, 8. No 6, no 3, 6, 8. No 1, 3. 3, 5, 6, 8. So this is 5 or 6. 3, 5, 8. 3, 5, 6, 8. 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 8. Okay, so 2 cannot be here. 2 cannot be here. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3. We have 5, 7, and 9. So this has to be the 7. And this is 5. This is 9. So this is 2. Okay, we have 2, 4, and 5. Is that right? Yeah, 2, 4, and 5. So this has to be 5. This is 4. This is 2. No 5. We have what? 1, 3, and so the 1 has to be here. 1, 3, and 8. Oh, okay, well, this is 1. We got 1, and this is 3, 8. Oh, okay, this is 3. We got 3, 8. This is 4. This cannot be 7 anymore. So this is 2, 5, and 6. So this has to be 5. And we got 2, 6, 2, 6. This is 3, 4. So this is 3. 3, 4, 9. So this is 4, 9. 3 in the corner. Celebration. 4, 9, 4, 9. Okay. This is 3, 8, and 9. So this is 8 and 9. This is 8 and 9. So this has to be 3. We've got 1, 4, 5, 6. So this is 1, 4, 5, 6. It cannot be 4. It cannot be 6 because that number would be here. So 1, 4, 5, 6. That can't be 1. Therefore, this has to be the 1. So this is 1. This is 8. This is 7. This is 1. We've got 6 and 7. So this is 6. This is 7. This has to be 9 now. This is 8. So this cannot be 2. Therefore, this is unshaded. We have 4, 5, 6, 8. So this is 4, 5, 6. This is 5 and 6. So this is 9. This is 5, 6, 8. This is 5 or 8. 5, 6, 8. This cannot be 1. So this is 3, 5, 8. So that means this is 5. So we have 5, 3. This is 8. We got 1, 8. So this is 5 or 6. This is 2, 4, or 7. So this is 4, 9, 4. So this is 1. This is 2 or 7. So that's 2, 7, 6, 2. This is 4, 5. But it can't be 4. So this is 5, 4. This is 9. This cannot be 5. So this is 6. This is 5. This is 6. And that's 5. And we're done. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you next time. Take care.